This computer. Hello, folks. This is Mark, and you're listening to the Ballpark Hunter podcast. I'm Mark Vikas, your host, and I am a regular contributor to the website Stadium Journey, the industry's leader in sports reviews. And we also do a lot of regional food stories. So I think our guest fits perfectly with that subject. His name is Adam Horvath. He's from Fanwood, New Jersey. Lives right down the street from where I grew up in Colonia. And he has an amazing website about indigenous foods, regional foods called Foodigenous. So, Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast.
So, you just got back from a Baltimore Ravens game. Are you a Ravens fan, or is that you just like to go to NFL stadiums?
I'm a diehard Philly everything fan. I live
Oh,
in North Jersey, so that's rough. But no, we just got back from Baltimore for our annual friends football game across the country trip, and we chose Baltimore this year. And I literally just got back. It was really fun. It was a good game too. I went in with no rooting interest. Usually when we go, we pick the team that the home team. So it was nice to see them pull it out.
no, yeah. So every year you go to a different NFL stadium. Is that?
That's correct. NFL, yeah. So we went to Buffalo last season, but really in January was the last game of the year. So we kind
Okay.
of snuck two in to make up for the pandemic. We've done Green Bay, which was
Nice.
amazing.
It is.
Obviously Philly, New York. But
So
yeah, I love going to different stadiums. Much like yourself, I checked out your website and your
thank you.
contributions, and it's amazing what you guys do.
Yeah, Stadium Journey. We try to hit everything. And like this week I'm trying to plan on going to my picks are going to an IU football game, going to a Notre Dame hockey game. Now Notre Dame hockey game is out of sight. Or going to a Valpo, no longer the Crusaders, the Valparaiso Beacons football game. And they have it looks like a high school stadium to me. So I'm really
Is
kind
that
of up
D?
in the air.
Is that D3? I'm sorry. Is that
I
Division
think
three?
it's either D3 or D2. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's one of those stadiums that I live near, and I need to get out there and check it out because we just don't have a review, and we like to update them. And sometimes we have reviews of stadiums that actually it's Valpo is a D1 program.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's a D1 school based on what I just read. So obviously, when you go to stadiums, you have food. Sometimes it's regional food. We are both from New Jersey. Everybody's going to talk about pork roll or Taylor ham.
Yes, tell him.
You yeah, you grew up in the part of New Jersey. You grew up where they called it pork roll, correct?
No, I grew
No.
up in Taylorham. So I was born in South Jersey till I was 7. That's where I got
Okay.
my Philly allegiance. But then like I lived most of my life in North Jersey, Northwestern Jersey.
Oh, okay. So you're a South Jersey guy who calls it Taylor ham, which I do another podcast with a gentleman called Dan Calachico, who's a
Right.
South Jersey guy, Phillies,
Right.
Flyers, Eagles, Sixers. He calls it pork roll. He will fight you if you call
Yeah.
it anything else. Where I grew up in Colonia, which is not too far from you, we called it either pork roll or Taylor ham. I don't know if you
You
hear.
literally might be the town that it's split where some like
Yes,
you might be the D mark,
yes, the
possible.
DMZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. We called it both. It was we never knew there was South Jersey was this way, North Jersey was that way. And I
So
remember
I
yeah, it was
No,
weird.
yeah. I'm sorry for stepping on you. I think that the
No.
reality is people from South Jersey, which I was. I'm not a South Jersey guy. I was born there, but I think I've always been a North Jersey guy. Here's the confusion part. They're right. It's not Taylor ham, but it's always going to be Taylor ham. They think that when we say Taylor ham, we mean pork roll that's made by Taylor. No, we mean the entire meat is Taylor ham, whether it's
Yes.
Case who makes it. It's always going to be, and it's definitely a hot topic here, especially for my blog and the things I contribute to on Facebook. I mean, people will go to battle.
No, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Star Ledger had a map, and I looked at the line of like demarcation, and it was Clark in New Jersey. So it was those two counties. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that makes perfect sense because we called it both. We thought one was a generic name and the other one was the brand name. So that's why we say call it that, kind of like Kleenex tissue, Band-Aid, adhesive bandage. We just never knew there was these fighting words. But your blog talks about that, and it's called food, not called what do people? It's foodigious. People call
It's
it another name.
foodigenous. It's foodigenous. It's my
Foodigenous.
clever merging of indigenous and foods.
Yeah,
Foodigenous. I have like family members that still call it Foodie Genius, but
foodie
there's actually
genius.
a place that another site called Food Genius. No, and I think that I love indigenous foods. I like you've highlighted. You blew
Hmm.
my mind. I think the first time you and I interacted is when you introduced me to a Spanish hot dog,
Yes.
which is something that is I'm angry with myself for not knowing about that.
Yeah, Spanish hot dogs of Logansport. I actually went up to like I think 5 or 6 locations that serve it up in Logansport, Indiana. And once you leave Logansport, nobody calls it a Spanish hot dog. There may be a few places that use that term, but eh, people that grow up in Logansport and they come down to Indianapolis or Lafayette or Fort Wayne, they'll say, "Yeah, take a Spanish dog. I'll get some Spanish sauce." And everybody looks at them like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah, I think I saw you eat it at a was it a high school or a
yes,
college basketball
it,
game too?
no, yeah, that was a high school gym, the Berry Bowl.
And they were serving Spanish hot dogs there.
Yes, they make their own Spanish sauce, which somebody told me is made from a place called Mr. Happy Burger, which is a legendary joint in town. The owner
Yeah,
opened it.
I'm all up on it now. I mean,
Yeah,
within a week, I went crazy looking this up because that
oh,
is an absolute foodigenous. That is
yeah,
something that is it's mind boggling because I spend way too much time in my life looking up this stuff, and
oh,
I
me
don't know
too.
how I missed this one. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's not talked about because that's the thing. It's like once you leave Logansport, like nobody really calls it that. And then kind of like on your blog or your website, you brought up the Texas hot wiener. That's a term they use in Patterson, New Jersey, and other
Yeah,
parts of Jersey. But once you leave the area, you don't really hear that term. Obviously,
yeah,
like NEPA, Northeast Pennsylvania, they'll call it. They use it up in upstate New York at some places. But what was fascinating, and this is how we got connected. You wrote an article with somebody else, I believe, about how the term Texas hot wiener is not from Patterson. It's not from New Jersey.
right.
It stems from Altoona, Pennsylvania. So,
Yeah, that was it was heartbreaking, right? That sounds dramatic, but my mom's from Patterson, so growing up, she would take me to the place and proudly say, "This is where I ate as a kid, and your
mhm,
grandfather ate it." 1924, there was this mysterious Greek owner who
yes,
first coined the term. Well, it's kind of BS, and I found that out by someone who reached out to me, kind of like you, read my blog, and asked if I would do a collaboration with him. He's Wandering Spectator. I'll give him a
yes,
plug. He's
yeah, go
similar
for
to
it.
you. I mean, he does the same thing. He goes to different stadiums and writes about it. But he also has like a side blog about true crime and uses newspapers.com, which I think
Yeah,
you do too, because
I
you've
do
cited
too.
some
Yeah,
stuff. It blew
great
my
site.
mind. So now I have a newspapers.com subscription, and quickly found out that what I believed to be true all my life was not, and it definitely is Altoona. So
No, no,
um,
you're right. 1918, right, is the earliest you found it, a reference that we know of.
that we know of, right? And the fact that we saw it as an ad in a 1918 Pittsburgh classified, it was a for sale ad, means that the word existed before that day. Otherwise, no
Yes.
one would know what it is. It's just trying to find that. Now, I don't know if you're on a lot of the same Facebook groups as I am.
Hmm.
The ones in New Jersey, I mean, people are fighting with me. They're calling me a liar. I
Yeah,
said, I
that's
get it.
that's why that's why I was going to ask you how's the feedback been? Hate mail, death
Yeah, that I
threats.
hate. That some death threats. I get it. I mean, it was like, and I wrote about this, but remember when Bruce Willis found out that he was dead at the end of Sixth Sense, and there was that spiraling scene where that's how I felt when I realized this, and I see a lot of
Mm.
people who grew up believing the same thing, feeling the same way.
Yeah, so those of you who don't know what a Texas hot wiener is, it's a coney dog for the Midwest. It's a
Yeah,
Michigan for you guys up in Plattsburgh. Uh,
and a
the
chili dog, I guess, for you
chili
guys
dog.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and a chili
Yeah,
dog for see, I grew up calling it chili dogs, but I remember growing up driving through Union, New Jersey and Springfield and Plainfield and seeing the Texas hot wiener signs. And I didn't know there was a difference. And then one day we did go to one of these locations and it's like, oh, these are chili dogs. They're very good. It's a nice little meat sauce. And but out here in Indiana, there's a place up in Fort Wayne that makes these awesome conies. And I was up there recently taking some videos and pictures of the place. Hasn't changed in over 100 years. But we all can say that these dishes were brought over by Greek immigrants who,
100,
yeah, 100%.
100%. And I think what we wanted to find out when I was disproved, when Patterson proved not to be the founder, I think we wanted to find this like unicorn, this one hill in Greece where all of these, Texas wiener, coney dog people, they lived, and like there was one house that shared the recipe. That's not true.
No.
Unfortunately, it came over, and a lot of people. I mean, it's kind of awesome, right? So people come over with their own recipe. In New Jersey, we don't know what a coney dog is. Coney dogs don't
No.
exist. It's either a Texas wiener up north or it's a chili dog. Coney dog, I mean, it's even on the East Coast, it's very little. I like that you pointed out at Plattsburgh, the Michigan dog, which is awesome. That whole
Mhm.
story, I have yet to write about it, but that's an amazing story about, food going from Coney Island to Michigan and then from Michigan back to New York.
Yeah,
And each time it changes its name.
it changes its name, but it's pretty much the same thing. Like even, yeah, I live about 100 miles from Cincinnati, and they have their own type of chili, which is not really chili. It's a meat sauce. It's a local dish from Greece.
Yeah.
I think Macedonian Greece
Yep.
that was introduced to the city in around 1922, and no one was eating it, so they decided to. It was a meat sauce you put over pasta, so they
Yeah.
decided to throw cheese on it and add some little different seasonings and call it chili.
Right.
And now Cincinnati has a chili parlor on every block, it seems.
So Cincinnati chili is a foodigenous, right? I'm really trying
Yes,
to make this word stick, but that is
that is.
absolutely that's a Philly cheesesteak. It's a buffalo chicken wing. I think it's getting a lot more play than a Texas wiener. You know,
Yes.
uh, and it doesn't mean that it's better. I mean, it might be better, but for some reason, some things take off. For instance, have you been to any Trenton, New Jersey baseball games?
Oh yeah, and the Thunder games.
Did you ever have a mustard pizza, while attending a Thunder game?
No, I have not had a mustard pizza. I didn't know that they had it at the games. I know they had pizza slices, but I never had I mean,
So they
I've
don't
had a
have it at,
tomato pie. I have not had the mustard version.
yeah, so I'm tricking you a little bit. So yeah, the mustard pie, they don't serve it at the games, but mustard pie is a definitively Trenton, New Jersey
Yes.
originated, and that is something that, you are not much like the Spanish dog, you're not really getting that outside of a
Trenton.
yeah. It's kind of now picked up, I think, because of the New Jersey food groups that we have. We're
Yes.
seeing it spread. So in my area, like there's actually one in Garwood now that serves it, and it's
No
dynamite.
way. Garwood has
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
Garwood has one, which is down the street from where you grew up, and a few places in South Jersey that your buddy will probably know about,
Yeah.
Highnesport.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
it's a great combination that doesn't make any sense. It's literally mustard covered with cheese, covered with regular tomato sauce.
mhm.
If you throw sausage on it, it's dynamite. And when you bite it, it's
Wow.
like a backyard burger kind of. Like it's got
Now,
that sweet of everything.
is it spicy mustard? Is it yellow mustard? What are we
So it
looking at
depends
here?
where you go. The traditional one is spicy mustard, but I've also
Okay.
had it with deli mustard. I prefer the spicy mustard, especially with the meat. It kind of complements it. But
Okay.
with the Trenton tomato pie is typically a sweeter sauce, so you really do get a combination of a lot of flavors in your mouth when you get that mustard pie. So try it.
Yeah, and I also have a YouTube video where I have the tomato pie, and it looks like a regular. I mean, if you compare a regular slice to a tomato pie, it does look different, but it's the same shape, same feel. I think with the tomato pie, it's crushed tomatoes. It's not as highly seasoned as maybe a Neapolitan.
Yeah, again, depending on where. So Papa's tomato pie is the longest continuously run family pizzeria in the country, and that's started in Trenton, and now it's in Robbinsville or Hamilton, right outside. And they took over this mustard pizza that's they call it, they say it's the home of the mustard pie. It really originated elsewhere, but it
Hmm.
migrated over. But yeah, so I think if they created it or they're running with it, you look at those and judge what a tomato pie is, and it's like you said, it's not really a traditional tomato sauce.
Yeah. Now, there's another regional pizza that I don't know if you heard of. It's at the Columbus Farmers Market. There's
Yeah.
two pizzerias there, Kate and
Kate and
Al's
Al's,
and
yeah.
Pete's.
I've had
Now,
neither of them. I have yet to eat these, and
oh,
I can't wait to try them. I keep seeing the photos look awesome.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine told me about the place, and he's like, "Yeah, it's in Columbus, New Jersey." I'm like, "Where the heck is that?" Far south that it's all Philadelphia fans down there,
Sure, I
and
would love.
I drive down there, and I was and somebody just told me to go to that market just for, because I like those type of places, and I had the pizza, and I was like, "Man, this pizza's kinda good, it's different though," and I would say it's very close to a Detroit style without the crispy edges, but it's a
Yeah.
lot saucier. There's a lot more tomato sauce.
And have you been, and you know this, right? Because based on your resume of what I've watched you
Mhm.
do, you've gone to a lot of these different places. I mean, there
Yes.
are these little hidden gems everywhere. There's a
Yes.
pizzeria that's in Briar Hill. I think it's
Yes.
Youngstown.
Youngstown, Ohio. Yep.
Yeah,
I know.
that was started in a church
Yes.
that is served on Fridays. That
Yep.
makes me want to drive 6 hours, get it, and come home in the same day. I've yet to have it, but it became so locally known that I understand other pizzerias have copied it. And have you had that?
I have not had that. That's something I just found out. I also found out about Dayton, Ohio style pizza.
I read about that too.
I've never heard of that, but I'm only 2 hours away, so I got the week off from work. I may be driving to Dayton
Is there a
sometime this week.
stadium you can hit up there that
Uh, you know, there's I mean, yeah, there's the ballpark, the Dayton Dragons, it's off season. There's Wright State Raiders, college, University of Dayton Flyers. They have a football stadium. They have one heck of a basketball arena though. So I may postpone that till I'm
yeah.
out there for specific reason. Obviously, if I drive to Columbus, the Blue Jackets are playing this Friday. I thought about going to see a game there. So definitely stop there. But yeah, I've never heard of Dayton style pizza. And apparently it's, there's a pizza war. You have a few places that serve it. And then there's Ohio style Valley, which I've had.
Yeah,
And
which I've
I've
yet to have either. So I was thinking about, well, so Ohio style is the cold cheese pizza. I don't know if you had
yes.
a chance to read about. So I wrote a story about cold cheese, and much like mustard pizza, where I tried to introduce my hometown to it. I introduced my hometown. We did a cold cheese pizza, but I didn't do the Ohio Valley style, which is slightly different. I did the upstate New York style,
Yeah, and I've
which is
heard about I've seen that on TV somewhere.
yeah, it's good. I mean, it's not to me, that's kind of like the cheapest version of a style. It's
Yeah.
just someone smart enough to put cold cheese on a piping hot slice to eat it so they don't burn their mouth.
Yeah.
But the Ohio style that you're talking about, I have to drive out there.
Yeah, and and that started with somebody who was in Italy during the war. He saw people making pizza this way, and he brought it back to Steubenville, Ohio.
Yeah.
I first had it when I went to a Wheeling Nailers game. They're an ECHL hockey team, and everybody was hanging out at this pizzeria beforehand. And I ordered a slice, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, the cheese isn't melted. But
Yeah.
what people do there is that they put it in the box, and when they get it home, it's steamed, so it's hot. So you can eat it 3 different ways: hot, cold, or kind of semi-permanent. Oh, we got a visitor today.
That's my cat. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. His name is
No, no,
Brody.
sometimes my Yorkie shows up on here, so but she's
So
upstairs with
you are a well knowledge. So you're a sports fan and a foodie. It's
Yes.
obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
Who was your team? Growing up in Jersey, are you New York and
Yes,
you know?
I'm a New York Mets guy. Unfortunately, been crying a lot into to some drinks last night, but
It was rough.
unlike
You want to go on? I'm sorry.
yeah, unlike most Met fans, and I was listening to WFAN on the internet today. I'm just moving on. It didn't happen this year. We could complain about losing the division. We could complain about not making the right trades at the deadline. We can complain about not signing this person. We can complain about not bringing that person up. It's over. Just move on. I'm
So
rooting
I'm a
for the
Philly.
Phillies. I'm rooting for the
Yeah.
Phillies to beat the Braves.
So that's awesome of you because I'm a bit of an idiot. You know how Philly fans have like we're kind of classless sometimes, and some of it's true.
Sometimes.
It it made me feel good that you guys were that close and then lost because all my Philly, all my Mets friends who make it very difficult to be a Philly fan living in in northern New Jersey were
Mhm.
very confident that this was their year. And
See, I
um,
didn't think the Mets were going to win this year. I said if they win the division and they have to play Philadelphia, who they owned, or
Yeah,
St. Louis, I feel good about that. And if they had to play the Dodgers or the Braves, who knows what could happen? I didn't think this team was going to win the World Series. If they had to play Houston, I didn't think they were going to beat them. I don't think and I hope it's going to be Houston out of the American League because I can't
yeah.
stand the Yankees. So yeah, I wasn't expecting a World Series, but I get
Yeah,
it.
my friends were, and you guys had really quality pitching in certain positions that I thought could run with it. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry that
yeah,
it happened because it's a
and
rough 101
it's
games.
rough. It's rough that if the Mets had just won one game, it didn't matter when they won
Yeah,
one game, they win the division, and they didn't take care of business when they were asked to, and they got swept by the Cubs when the Cubs came into town a few weeks ago. They couldn't win in Atlanta. I don't think they choked away the division. I just think that Braves were playing out of their damn minds.
yeah. No, I,
Okay,
I, I, I agree.
so here's the thing: you had to play San Diego in the opening round. I know San Diego you don't match up well with because of left-handed pitching, but you got one hit. So, let's say you win your division. Let's say you're getting ready to play Philly and Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola or God forbid Noah Syndergaard one hits you. You're not going to be happy with that.
Right,
So it didn't
exactly.
happen. And I'm young enough to remember 84 and 85 and 86. It didn't happen right away. You had to wait a few years. So
No, I think it's coming, and I don't expect much from my team. I'm happy to be here. You never know. We have a nice enough lineup to sneak some wins, but I think
yeah.
it's the Dodgers year, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't think the Mets were going to beat the Dodgers. And anyway, even if they made it to the NLDS, but NLCS, but I think everybody would have been happy. So, I'm listening to WFAN. I'm on Twitter. I had to get off Twitter because you got Met fans pissing me off. You have Braves fans, Philly fans running their mouths, and
Yeah, yeah. I'll
Yankee
get
fans
worse.
were Yankee fans were chiming in. I'm like, okay, guys, I hope Cleveland sweeps you. I
So
hope Andre Jimenez hits like a game-winning, series-ending home run against you.
falling from a cliff. Are you taking baseball over football, or football? You can only save one sport. What do you save?
Oh, it's baseball. Yeah, I'm a baseball guy. Yeah, Mets are
So
my
I'm a
number one team.
I'm a football. The Giants
Yeah.
are. I mean, the Eagles. The Eagles are my favorite team of everything, and then it's the Sixers, then it's the Phillies. But
Okay.
I love them all.
Yeah. No, I'm Mets, Jets, Devils, Knicks, and a little Man City football out in the Premier League.
So
And
Ted Lasso made me want to pick a team.
oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going to pick a team. I just need some help. So
Okay. Yeah, it will happen. It will happen. I haven't picked a team in the MLS. I just can't do it. It's like, okay, nope, nope. Man, New York Red Bulls, no. New York
you going
City
to come
FC.
out this way for the World Cup when we get it?
If it would be great if I can. I mean, it'll be during the summer, and that's when I usually come home and visit family. So
Yeah, you got to
it's
do it. I did it at I think when it was '94. We got
94.
it. I went to a couple games. I,
Oh
I
wow.
went up to see Italy, Nigeria. I didn't play either. I worked at a pizzeria, right? So I grew up. My appreciation for food comes from working in restaurants,
Hmm.
and I grew up with a pizzeria filled with Italians and Guatemalan chefs who were so passionate about it, and they just made me go with them. And I learned to really love soccer as a result
Wow.
of seeing the fans at the World Cup. It's insane.
Yeah, see, I remember when they announced the World Cup, and I was a kid, and I was like, man, we definitely need to see a game. And I don't know, my dad, we didn't go see a game at Giant Stadium. I was kind of shocked because he watched every game on TV. He probably didn't want to pay the prices. God only knows how much they were back in
I think that
'94.
that's what it is. I mean, it's so expensive to go to games right now.
I know.
I've been married. I've been married 20 years. I have no kids. When my friends go with their kids to
Oh
games,
my
it's
goodness.
it's, it's shocking how much they have to pay for
Well,
all of
it's
this.
like, yeah, I remember last year I was at some minor league games with my friend and his daughter. And yeah, you take her to that gift shop. Daddy, get me this. Daddy, get me that. So yeah, it
Take
does
a
add up.
401k loan out. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it adds up. I assume though, because I've only been once I saw your site, I actually started counting up how many stadiums I've been to, and I'm
Nice.
47 years old, and I've only been to 20 different stadiums. And of those 20 different stadiums, I'm counting the ones that were knocked down and recreated. So
Yeah.
I've been to the Link, been to both Giants stadiums.
Hmm.
So I really have not, even with this annual tour, I have been to hardly as many as you've been.
Yeah, well, I mean, you live in an area where, you could check out some minor league parks. I mean, and, Princeton, Rutgers have nice football stadiums.
Well, yeah,
It's,
I've been to Rutgers a few times, and I just got a 15 pack for the I guess it's Jersey Mike's Arena now. It used to be called the
yeah,
Rack for
yeah,
Rutgers.
the rack.
I'm a big fan. I didn't go to Rutgers. I went to a different. I went to Rowan University.
Oh, yeah, I know, Rowan.
So I went to Rowan University. It was like the first year it became a Rowan. It was Glassboro, I guess, the year before,
Oh, that's
and
right.
we were the Division III champions, national champions in basketball, and we had maybe 500 people watch a game. And then, we went, I think, 2 years in a row to the championship, the D3 when I was there, and just didn't really have crowds. So if I could redo it, I would definitely try to go to a D1 just for the sports.
Yeah, I actually went to Rutgers for 3 semesters. I wind up getting kicked out for academic grades,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I was
that's
there.
I wound up in Indiana State because I just said I want to go someplace where I can live on campus and enjoy the college life and be away from home. Plus, I was hanging around with a lot of deviants, people that just were not good. Good,
I
we're the same age, so this is around late mid 90s that this was happening. So
did slip
I
up in the middle.
yeah, went to Indiana State 25 years ago, and I made friends. Not that Terre Haute is a wonderful place or a great college atmosphere, but I still have a lot of good friends that I met my first year. Kevin, Becky, Jeff, Autumn, Lori. I mean, and then I wind up meeting some of their friends like Aaron and Heather, and then met some of their friends later like Angel and Dave. So yeah, I
That's
met a
awesome.
lot of good
Yeah,
friends
bro.
there. And that didn't happen when I was at Rutgers or New Brunswick. I didn't know. I was commuting from home from Colonia. It was only like 13 miles. I was dealing with traffic. I was dealing with finding a parking spot on the New Brunswick campus compared to the Livingston campus. It was a pain in the ass. I hated it. I hated my experience at Rutgers. Now, the only thing I did like at Rutgers, since we're talking about food, are the fat cats.
Yeah, buddy.
Yay,
Yes.
buddy. Those things were that was the best part about going to Rutgers was going to the grease trucks. Now
Yeah.
they're all brick and mortar, but going to the grease trucks, getting a fat cat for lunch or dinner.
Yeah, you guys used to do that Ag Field Day, and that was the reason to go. And that to me is that's a foodigenous that
Yeah.
has not picked on yet. And the brick and mortars, and I think I actually saw it on Shark Tank where a guy was looking to franchise it, and it was a
Mm.
smart idea. It's horribly unhealthy, and
Yes.
but it's perfect when you are failing out of college because
Yeah.
it's used to sober up. I also went through an experience like that. I have a regular job, so I'm going to out myself. But when I learned to I didn't drink until I went to my junior year. And when I did, I also had some academic issues, but
Hmm.
had to make up for it. And, everything worked out well.
No, no, exactly. It took me a little bit longer to graduate, but I think I'm in a good spot now. But I just remember like my friends saying, you got kicked out of Rutgers? Like, what's the
Yeah.
matter with you? I went
I
to
have a question.
Rutgers. I said, you went to Newark campus. It's different,
Yeah, totally not the same. Totally
Totally
not the
not the
same.
same.
I have a
Parking
question for
much
you
better.
about this Stromboli, right? So I've been reading
Oh,
about
yeah.
this Evansville Stromboli,
Oh,
and
the
you
Evansville
know,
Stromboli.
it's not a Stromboli, right?
No,
Because
it's a
you have
sandwich. No, no, no.
obviously,
The
yeah,
Strombolis out here in Indiana are sandwiches.
yes, it's weird.
Sandwiches. They're not
Yes.
Strombolis. Like, give me a
But
break,
I want to
guys.
go out there and I want to eat that sandwich stromboli and just want to eat it where it's at. For me, everything tastes better. I've had Pizzeria Uno in Clifton, New Jersey, and I've had Pizzeria Uno in Chicago. And
It,
Pizzeria Uno in Chicago is always going to taste better. It's just the truth. Even if it doesn't, it will. That's my
oh no,
motto.
it does. Yeah, and I just had a Chicago slice the other day from Lou Malnati's, and it's
Nice.
good pizza. I mean, I don't hate it. It's made with quality ingredients. I'm not dissing it. It's just not something I grew up with. It's like, but I can appreciate good pizza. I love the regional pizzas. I love the fact that you go someplace, and speaking of Evansville, they have something called the brain sandwich down there, a fried brain sandwich
I read about that too.
that
I don't know if that appeals to me. I'll try it because I'm a food blogger, right? But
yeah, it's something that it's an acquired taste, and I think Alton Brown, when he had it, said, I understand why no other city eats this.
You were to segue from regional pizzas. You had commented about Old Forge pizza. Are you
Oh
familiar
yeah.
with Old Forge?
Yeah, my mom grew up in Wilkes-Barre, so that's the pizza we grew up eating when we went to visit grandma.
So you're Italian, Wilkes-Barre, the Italian side? Is that because I my family's from Scranton, my dad's
Uh
side, and they're
no,
Lithuanian.
they're a bunch of Slovaks, my
Okay,
mom's
yeah.
side.
So
Yeah. So they came here I think 1899. My great grandfather came here from what is now Slovakia. He never worked in the mines, but I don't know how he wound up here. I think him and his brothers and sisters came out here. A lot of people from his village came out to Wilkes-Barre. Like him and his wife were from the same village. They didn't know each other until they came out to Wilkes-Barre. So they had their 5 kids, and then
yeah, you
my
hear that a lot. That's amazing. I had a couple great uncles or great uncles that were coal miners, and a couple of
mhm.
them had the black lung. But I actually went to visit my grandmother every August, like for the month of August. My dad died young, so I would when I was young, so I would go visit her, and it was awesome. I got to see my Lithuanian family and all of
Oh,
that.
nice.
And we never went to Old Forge, so I found out about Old
Yeah,
Forge as an adult, like maybe 10 years ago, and now I'm
yeah.
obsessed with it.
No,
And
it's
it was
yeah, no,
great.
you're absolutely right. It's not like we went to Old Forge to have the pizza, but we would get that style. And my mom passed away 2 years ago, and when I went up there for her funeral services, we went to Old Forge, and it's Main Street, and there's all these Italian restaurants that
Yeah,
make that pizza. You got the white pizza that is pretty much a stuffed cheese pizza
yeah,
with
yeah,
no sauce, and then you got the red pizza that it's got that odd combination of cheese. It's not one of my favorites, but it does bring back memories because you had this style
yeah.
when
No, of
when
course, it is one of my new favorites though.
okay.
When you mix American cheese on a pizza, you
Yes.
shouldn't like it. I don't
No.
think you should like it, but I do, and I don't know that I'm getting it in New Jersey. I don't think I would choose to get in New Jersey. Like I
No.
said, I would get it. The original spot is always best.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if I would love it here, but
No,
I'd
no,
love to go
you're
for it.
absolutely right. Because I think when I had and I went to a couple different places. One place was a little bit better because it was a crispier crust. One was a little doughier. The cheese was odd. It was like this gloopy cheese, and it reminded me a little bit of St. Louis style pizza, which uses Provel cheese, which is a
Yeah,
mixture of processed cheese. And once again, you leave St. Louis, nobody's eating St. Louis style pizza. And St. Louis is a city that you can never get out to, has a lot of indigenous foods from,
no, definitely toasted ravioli, right?
yeah, toasted ravioli is a St. Louis invention. You can find that in certain spots here in Indy.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I don't know why this is not popular elsewhere. They have like
I also saw like a Chinese food sandwich that
the
they
Saint
have.
the St. Paul sandwich.
St. Paul sandwich. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I gotta try this. I have to go out there. I will also be 300 pounds if I don't
yeah,
pace myself.
yeah. They have some weird food out there, and they have a nice Italian area called the Hill, where I think Yogi Berra is from. And they these old family homes that they've turned into restaurants, and the families are serving you your food. Yeah, the St. Paul sandwich is odd because if you cross the Mississippi River into Illinois, they don't serve it.
Yeah.
But
Like
then if
how
you
awesome
cross
is that? Like why? That's amazing to me.
no nobody, and I actually have an article on that on Stadium Journey. I should send that
Oh,
to you.
yeah, I gotta
And
check it out.
no, nobody knows where that came from. They don't know why it's called St. Paul. It's just I think it's probably Chinese restaurants said, "Hey, let's take something and Americanize it. So we'll take our egg foo young and we'll put mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato on it,
As you should, yeah.
and we'll
So
serve it as a sandwich."
there's a couple. There's a chow mein sandwich, I believe, in Massachusetts, just south
Oh,
of
really? So I don't know about that.
Boston. Yeah, that I'm going to go up there. There's a whole pizza style too called it's a South.
Beach
I think
pizza?
it's South in Boston. It's South Shore bar
Yes.
pie, and they have those laced edges. And then I'm thinking about doing that probably next month as a little road trip.
Yeah, no, it's just amazing we can go to like St. Louis, getting back to St. Louis, barbecue pork steak
Yeah,
is
I heard
something
about
really
that
good.
too.
Yeah, and that's really tasty. Those are good. I've had a friend from St. Louis. They have something called the Slinger, which is it's like an
Yep.
egg dish with hash browns and chili covering it.
Yeah, I've been reading about this too, and it was you, right? You taught me, or you showed me some of these South. Is
The
it South
the gym shoe
Chicago?
sandwich, and Chicago's another good foodie place.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty well learned. Like I look a lot of stuff up, and then you tell me something that I've never heard of. So I have been now on these rabbit holes just looking
Yeah.
up these sandwiches and
Well,
the mother-in-law tamale. I mean, I
yeah,
have to
no,
try this.
Chicago's got some, like, they have an Italian beef sandwich, which you probably have heard of.
Yeah.
I never knew what that was until I came out here, and it's amazing. It's probably, I would rather have it than a cheesesteak.
Yeah, so why? I mean, I like it a lot. I went out there for my birthday. We had to take off of work. We had our day off of work, paid for, and I got a cheap flight, so I flew out to my birthday like 6 years ago, just to have the deep dish and to have the beef, and the beef was amazing.
Yes, with
Why
the
is that?
marinara on it.
Yeah, why is that not everywhere? Like,
I
why?
I don't know. It's not even in, you can get in places in Indy, but it's not popular. Like, you go up to Chicago and you have these little stores that sell gyros and Italian beef and the Chicago style hot dogs and the pizza puffs.
Yeah,
They do all sorts of weird stuff, and it's good. It's, really, and they have, Chicago has its own style of barbecue that are rib tips.
yeah,
And then they have mild sauce, which they pour over the chicken wings, which is like mumbo sauce down in Washington, D.C. It's
yes,
a
but
whole
why does buffalo chicken wings and Philly cheesesteak? You can get Philly cheesesteak in
yes.
Singapore, but you can't get a Chicago Italian beef. You
No.
should. I mean, that's why I'm doing this thing. This foodigenous blog of mine is just pure passion. I have a regular job. I love it. It's cathartic, especially during the pandemic. But
Yes.
it's so fascinating to understand. It boggles my mind, and I think I'm going to try and figure that out. I'm not going to, but why do some
Well,
of these hit, some of them miss, and some of
well,
them never?
I had a conversation with somebody about the hot plate, the garbage plate up in Rochester.
Yeah,
And he says, the buffalo chicken wing, you can get chicken wings everywhere. Now, I remember a time when you couldn't, you didn't have buffalo wing spots. And he said, buffalo wings are like the perfect thing to eat with beer. It's the perfect thing to eat as an appetizer. You can get with fries as a meal. It's just, it makes sense for that to be popular. Whereas, like, the garbage plate is like 3 pounds of food that
yeah,
drunk people eat at night. If you really think about what you're eating, you're not going to eat it.
right.
But yeah, you're right. The buffalo wing is everywhere. Now, there are places that say they have buffalo wings and they give you something fried with
Yeah.
batter on it. That's not a buffalo wing. Please don't do that. So it's some people mess it up. The Cuban sandwich I'm seeing at a lot of places now.
Yeah, so some of these things that have been around for decades are starting to jump
Yes.
off. And I think a lot of it has to do with social media. I think a lot of it's that food porn and people are
Yes.
posting stuff. I mean, I have this, I'm part of this Jersey Pizza Joints. If you're not on Facebook, Jersey Pizza Joints,
Mm.
it turns me on to a lot of different things. But, I wanted to get a little street cred, right? I never wrote before other than like I was writing screenplays and stuff when I was younger.
Oh,
So I started to reach out to local blogs in Jersey to ask if I could write for free, and I did. So I saw this group I mean, this was in the height of the pandemic, and it had 3 or 4 thousand followers. And I'm like, this is amazing. These people from Jersey are just they're talking crap about what, it's too burned, it's not cooked enough. And I interviewed this guy who did this, and by the time it published, it went from 3,000 to 9,000. It's at 67,000 followers of just really opinionated New Jersey folk talking about how great their pizza is and how, not great your photo of pizza you posted is. And it's awesome. I love it. I'm
no, no,
obsessed
yeah,
with it.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you leave New Jersey and you can't get pork roll or you can't get disco fries, which, why aren't those not popular? Like, poutine is becoming popular, but not disco fries.
Exactly.
It,
Exactly. And I've traveled a decent amount, you know, um, regionally in the East Coast. I have yet to go to California. So, I mean, I'm lacking a lot of spots. I can't wait. I'm so excited to meet you because you have turned me on with it. I think we met a week ago.
a
I
week
have,
ago.
I have learned so much about food I've never heard of, and that's me looking for it. So, I mean, how many other, marks are out there doing what you do? At
Yeah,
least
there,
three. your
Yeah.
website, I see there's like 50 of you. So
Well, and that's the thing with Stadium Journey. I wrote a few articles, regional food, and then other people were like, "Well, hey, I live in near New Haven. Let me talk about our pizza, or let me talk about."
best pizza in the country, by the way.
Yeah, New Haven pizza is
New
really
Haven.
good. I'll give that credit. I do like Detroit style. That's I probably be if I had to pick my top five, it'd be New Haven, New York style, or Neapolitan, whatever you want to call it. Detroit. I do like the Columbus Flea Market pizza just because it's
Yeah.
two places make it. It was made, I think a Hungarian started it. That's
Oh,
what they told
that's
me.
great. Nice.
And then there's Quad City Pizza, which is okay. They throw a lot of crumbled sausage on it, makes it very heavy. But yeah, it's just amazing how someplace something is popular, but not elsewhere. Like there's a supermarket that sells Taylor ham pork roll here, and I'm saying that for all my New Jersey people, both
Yeah.
names. That every time I go there, they're like, you're from New Jersey. Like nobody orders it unless you're from New Jersey. And I see a lot of New Jersey plates out here driving around, which I don't know why you don't change your plates to Indiana. You're saving a heck of a lot more money on insurance.
You're
I
right.
get it. You don't want Indiana plates, but your insurance goes down big time. Trust me. But you go to this supermarket and it's like, you're from New Jersey, you're a Jersey person, and they just start talking to you, and it's like,
Every
hey,
single person listening to this podcast should try Taylor ham because
yes,
Taylor ham is nature's candy. Taylor ham should be a Philly cheesesteak and a buffalo chicken wing because it
yes,
is the best breakfast meat. I like bacon. It is the best breakfast meat I've ever had in my life. And I think, sliced thin, a little well done.
yes, a
But
little
it's
crispy.
amazing.
Now, what's the best way to eat it? With egg and cheese on a roll, or on
So
the
me
side with
personally,
eggs?
I personally like it with just cheese, no egg, and I love a sesame bagel with that.
Okay.
I love a little black pepper and
Yes.
ketchup. I'll mess around and put egg on it too. It's a little sloppier, but I just think any chance to put Taylor ham in your mouth, or Taylor ham
Mhm.
pork roll, or Case pork roll, or Hatfield pork roll,
Whatever you want to
which is
call it.
all
Yeah.
which is all Taylor ham. Yeah, everyone, listen, get it, try it.
Yeah, and I think that's becoming a lot more popular when I tell people about it. It's funny when I travel, I'll bring it up to folks, and if you're from New Jersey, well, we always have that conversation because yeah, it's great. It's in high school, it was always the go-to sandwich. If you didn't like what the main dish was at the cafeteria, you got a pork roll sandwich with cheese on it on a bun with
Yeah, I feel like
fries.
The Sopranos missed out. The Sopranos should have done a whole episode on
Yeah,
Tony and Taylor ham.
yeah, no, that would have been excellent. They did everything else, and then of
So
course New
what
Jersey.
else? What other recommendations? Quick segue. I apologize. What other
No,
recommendations for something that's hyper local, as you call it, that you think I may not have heard of that you've discovered is something I should put on my radar? Because I'm still looking for content all the time.
now I think you covered everything in New Jersey. I mean, you have like I don't think you have disco fries yet. Am I?
Oh, I have to. Yeah, no, I
Oh,
have a nice article about disco fries.
okay,
Says nothing good happens at 3 a.m.
okay.
Uh, but it's not true because disco fries happen at 3 a.m.
Okay, okay. So I guess I didn't read that one yet. And you have Italian hot dogs or Newark style hot dogs, which
Yeah, Mark, we just met, so no harm, no foul. And for
okay.
anyone who is listening, I write 3 minute stories because most of you guys don't have
No.
long attention spans, and I will force as many pop culture movie references as possible. But yeah, if you like food, check it out. It's something that
Yeah.
there's so many of us that like regional food. It's
Yeah. And you have the Utica greens and chicken riggies, which I have not had yet, but that's one of the
Utica
regional
Greens.
foods.
Utica Greens. I went up there in April. Until today was my number one food that I ate this year, and it's
Okay.
just escarole with prosciutto. I had a Fadley's crab cake this morning in Baltimore, which trumped it. It's now my number one. Now Fadley's, it's not fair because the crab cake that I had, I took my friends to. It was the best bite of food that I ate from 2010 to 2020. And
Nice.
I tend not to repeat things because I get disappointed or I'll feel disappointed. And I brought my friends before we went home, and it held up. It is without a doubt the best crab cake I've ever had. And right now, the best thing that I've eaten in 2022.
Okay. That's pretty good. Uh that's good to hear. But something you haven't had. Indiana, we have a regional food called the pork tenderloin sandwich.
I've yet to have that. I do know about that
It's
though.
and the you have to have a giant one that covers the plate and a bun that is
Yeah, it looks like a Fred Flintstone steak that
it's
tips
a
over.
yeah,
Is
it
what
looks
it's
like a
called.
Fred Flintstone steak. You can get one of those in Indiana or Iowa. Those two states lay claim to it, not Illinois. But if you go to Springfield, Illinois, they have something called the horseshoe sandwich or the horseshoe
Yes.
platter. I'm not a
So
big fan of it, but
uh,
people seem to like it.
with French fries, right?
Yeah, it's French fries. There's actually the baseball team out there is called the Lucky Horseshoes,
Oh, that's awesome.
and
That's
they have
awesome.
one of their logos has a gym shoe, not a gym shoe. I'm sorry, has the horseshoe plate. But yeah, it's like a couple pieces of toast with a burger traditionally with fries surrounding it like a horseshoe with a beer cheese sauce on it. They
It
also
sounds
do
amazing. Sounds
yeah,
amazing.
they also do a breakfast version. They do ones with chicken, they do ones with fried food. But yes, that's something that's very popular in Springfield. Some places out here have it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a little bit too much carbs for me, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
worth
I think
trying.
it all is. It's a little bit of a treat. It sounds like. So yeah, we met a week ago, and I promise I will read up on your site
Yeah,
because especially out Midwest, it just seems like there's a lot of odd combinations that work, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
got to try these.
and then getting back to Cincinnati, we have there's something out there that's similar to Scrapple. It's called Geta.
Oh, it's Geta. So I've been saying Goetta
No, it's
forever. So
Geta.
I'm glad we had
Yeah,
this
yeah, it's Geta.
conversation.
And it's you can't find Geta at the stores here at all in Indianapolis. There's a couple places that I know of that you have to travel about 45 minutes to get. Like if you go to the Kroger down in Columbus, Indiana, they have it there. But you fry that up extra crispy and you serve that with eggs.
Yeah, that's on
Oh,
my list. I'm going to do a Geta. Is it Geta? You said
yes, Geta.
I'm going to do a Geta Scrapple blog at some point. I'm going
There
to
you go.
do a taste test.
They
I just
taste
was
different. They
watching.
do taste different.
It's the grain that's different, right? Isn't one a grain and another one is wheat
One
or oats
Geta
or
has the oats in it.
okay.
And so, but I think it's the same concept. They just like boil the head of a cow or a pig and whatever comes up gets gelatized. And yeah, but Cincinnati's got that. They're known for their triple decker sandwiches. Frisch's Big Boy is popular out there. If you head up towards, I'm trying to think, then there's Western style, New York style pizza outside of Buffalo,
Yeah,
which,
no. So I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Buffalo second, third, and fourth grade,
okay.
and this kind of segues into what you do. But the Bills Mafia right now, in my opinion, like them or love the Bills. It's the best football um, audience or crowd. They do this insane tailgate. Portnoy did he did his little pizza test there, and there's a Pizza Pete guy who cooks every week. He cooks a pizza in a filing cabinet that he
Mm,
repurposed into a pizza oven. He then takes that out and cuts it on an ironing board and serves it to all these maniacs who
mm.
are dressed up. And it's good. It's really good. There are a tremendous amount of odd things happening. It's like a Marilyn Manson video. There's a red Pinto. It's called the Red Pinto tailgate. There's a red Pinto that they pull out and they cook things on it. There's a saw that has eggs cooking. There's a rake that has bacon. There's a World War II helmet that is filled with oil and it's deep frying buffalo wings. It's all free and it's amazing. I don't know if it's sanitary, but it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's as long
So
as it's amazing, I'm fine with that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, I've heard great things about heard good and bad about Buffalo, their fans. I know and they donated money to somebody's charity recently after they were injured. I don't know who that was, but
It's
you
cool.
you hear a lot of good things about them. But yeah, I hear the tailgate is pretty out of sight. So
It
just
is. It is. It is amazing. So yeah, put that on
just
your list if you have yet to do that.
yeah, that's the thing. It's I don't get up to Buffalo that often,
Yeah.
but there's people up there that write for the site that live there, so maybe they need to get out there and talk about it a little bit more, instead of just the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'd be happy to write for I I'm trying to get my street cred up, but I really do enjoy going to sports games. I feel like the sports games. I like going to stadiums, but I just
Yes.
haven't been to many.
Yeah.
So
And I'm noticing now a lot of stadiums are embracing these indigenous foods and like pork roll. Like when Trenton's first opened up in 1994, I don't think you can get pork roll out there.
yeah, that's
Now you
silly, right?
can. Now you can. Now Case has a whole little section there with different ways of serving pork roll, which I think it's wrong. I think pork roll should only be served at the ballpark on a bun with cheese.
I agree
You
with
know,
you.
like
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
they do
You know, I
some
just
weird stuff with it. I don't get it, but that's what they do.
I
So
came back from the Ravens. We went to the game, the Sunday game last night. It was a great game, but the stadium itself, it was a real disappointment. They had like 20-minute lines, and you get up there and they say we ran out of food. So yeah, I don't want to trash anything. I'm not a review site. I don't want to do
no.
that. But as far as just
No, you're fine. You speak your
yeah,
mind. We don't
the,
censor people on our show.
that's what I like to hear. That was just disappointing. So they had pit beef and they had crab cake
Pit
sandwiches.
beef.
I assume they had them because they weren't available to us. So then they have you go on another line, and 20 minutes later, and thank God there's a lot of TVs there. I was watching the game, but yeah, they ran out of that too. So by the end of the day, they were just serving broken nacho chips with a lot
Oh,
of cheese, which I did not have. So I had a Diet Coke.
yeesh, that
You know,
sounds terrible.
it was horrible. It honestly was horrible. It's a beautiful looking stadium. The crowd was really cool. They were definitely into it. But have you been to Philly at all? Recently?
Yeah, I've been to Philly. Been to well, I was in Philly a couple years ago, and
Did you have a Schmitter by any chance at the link?
no, I didn't have a Schmitter.
Schmitter's like a cheesesteak that has some kind of salami that's fried in a secret cheesy sauce that
Really?
is, yeah, it's insane. It was made by a bar years and years ago, but the fact that it's being
The sh-
served at the link, it's awesome. The
so
Schmitter.
is this named
Nothing to
after
do
Mike
with Mike
Schmidt?
Schmidt. No,
No.
it had nothing
Oh,
to do with Mike Schmidt. Who's my favorite all-time baseball player?
oh yeah, Mike Schmidt
Um,
was the beast. Was yeah. Oh, here it is. Well, I've never heard of the Schmitter. I've heard of
nice.
the I've heard of the Texas Tommy hot dog, but not the Schmitter.
Yeah, put the Schmitter on your list. It's really
Yeah,
good.
there's a lot on my list. Another one you talked about a regional was the North Shore roast beef sandwich in Boston.
Yes, that's on my list too. I've been to Boston a few times, and I'm always getting like the clam
Yeah,
chowder.
yeah, just forget that. Get
Chowder.
chowder. Yeah, get that. That has that James River barbecue sauce, which I don't know if it tastes different, but maybe it does. So
I will find out, and I'm going to write about this stuff. So I have a bunch of things lined up. I'm going to my sister's, who lives in Georgia, at the end of this month, and I was watching the TV show Atlanta, and I saw an episode that had lemon wet wings,
okay.
and I had to look it up. Never heard about it. They're basically buffalo wings that have this lemon seasoning on them,
Yes.
and I'll be writing a blog about that because I saw it
Nice.
on TV. And
Oh,
I'm going to eat it.
okay. If you're in Georgia, where in Georgia? Is it Atlanta or
So I'm flying into Atlanta, spending a night there just to do the food scene, and then I'm going out to Warner Robins, which I
okay.
believe won the Little League World Series at one point.
Yeah.
Um,
Because yeah,
so
Georgia's got some good barbecue, and you might even be able to find some boiled peanuts.
oh, I'm definitely gonna have boiled peanuts. I've been to my sister's a few times.
Hmm.
They're served everywhere. You can get them at a gas station. You can
Yes,
get them
get
at
them in a gas. Yeah, here in Indianapolis. There's one place to get them. It's this bar in Speedway next to the track. Uh,
wow.
ev- and
How
sometimes
is that? Is that a thing?
that yeah, Indianapolis, the bar sells them. I don't know why, because nobody else makes them here. Like
Yeah,
I would have to
that's
go into Alabama to get them. And I
yeah.
love boiled peanuts. As long as you don't make them too salty, they're excellent, especially
Yeah,
Cajun style.
I tend to blow up from the sodium, but I'm gonna do it
Yeah,
anyway just
yeah, yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
you're right.
Instagram.
I mean, even if you don't taste the salt, it's in there. It's breaking down the shells and flavoring the water. And
Exactly.
so, but yeah, so much food to talk about. We can be here all night, but
Yeah, no, I
uh,
appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate what I know I'm going to learn about some things through your site. So thank
yeah,
you already in advance.
yeah, contact me if you come out to Indy. Let me know. We'll try to show you some indigenous food out here. Indy's not really known for a lot. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Like if you think of Cincinnati, you think of Detroit, you think of Chicago, and then St. Louis. Then you got Indianapolis here, and it's like, okay, what are you known for? food
You got a
wise.
good steakhouse, right? Yeah, yeah. Was that
St.
Elmo?
Elmo's, yeah, we have this horseradish sauce,
Yeah,
cocktail sauce that you put a little bit too much on your shrimp.
yeah. That's good with when you have the old sinus infection, I hear.
Yeah,
So
no, I love it. You could buy by the bottle at the stores at Costco. It's quality made product. It's really good, but it's yeah,
when you come back home, look me up and we'll get
yeah.
some disco fries.
We'll get some disco fries. I like it. All right, so let everybody know where they can find you, Adam. Tell us about your website, and
Sure.
take
It's
it from here.
it's Thank you. It's Foodigenous, FOODIGENOUS .com. And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I am always looking for, suggestions or recommendations. But, I notice a lot of people just like my photos. They don't read my stories. And, I'm a well enough. I have a finance degree, but I also write stories. I thought I was going to be a screenwriter, and I definitely put pop culture in. But I do have a passion for food, and they're pretty quick reads. So I call it bathroom reading. Give it a shot.
All
Thank you
right,
so
yeah.
much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. All right, that was Adam. Thank you for coming on the show. My God, two Jersey guys talking about food. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Wow, disco fries, pork roll, Taylor ham, Italian hot dogs, Texas hot wieners, gabagool, all good stuff. All that crazy stuff. That crazy stuff. And then this guy knows all the regional foods. He didn't know Geta though. He was calling it Goetta. But I gotta tell you something. When I first moved to Cincinnati back in 2003, I was calling it Goetta as well. Geta. Get some Geta. I love Geta. So ooh, good times, good times. Well, that was a little different conversation. We did talk about a little bit of baseball, a little bit about football. Bills Mafia, the food they make out there. I don't know. I'm a Jet fan, so I don't think the Bills Mafia wants me out there. So I would have to go incognito. But I do find it funny when we talk about like New York football teams doing well, people are bringing up the Bills. No one in my life has ever considered the Buffalo Bills a New York team. And when I say New York, I say New York City. Like they don't even consider the New Jersey Devils a New York City area team. And they're only a what, 6 miles from arena to Madison Square Garden. I mean, maybe even closer now because I think that's the Meadowlands was 6 miles. Yes, Buffalo, you are not part of the New York City market. If I'm in Buffalo, I am not picking up New York radio stations like Z100 or Hot 97 or 103.5 KTU. I'm not putting on Channel 2 News from New York or Channel 4 NBC, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. I'm not getting a copy of New York Newsday or the Star Ledger from Jersey or the Bergen Record. You're not New York City. You're in New York State. That's great. That's like somebody that's like a San Diego Padre saying that the San Francisco Giants are part of the sports landscape of Southern California. It's not. Stop it. Stop trying to say you're New York. You're Western New York. Yeah, you are New York State, but you're not New York City. So knock it off. Knock it off. Cut it out. Get out of here with that. Give me a break. Come on, man. So anyway, great podcast. This is my second of the day, and hopefully you are enjoying my podcast. You can catch them every Monday at 6 p.m. You can check me out on Ballpark Hunter. That is at Stadium. I'm sorry. You can check me out as the Ballpark Hunter on YouTube. That is my channel, which has 1,200 subscribers, close to 4,000 hours watched, and plenty of great content, including episodes of the podcast. They don't always come out around the same time as they do through your podcast aggregator. But let's be honest. Listen here, watch later. It's up to you. I give you a choice. And I want to thank everybody for listening. We will see you next time. This is Mark Viquez, the Ballpark Hunter, saying take care and happy journeys. Adios.